Welcome to Go Purpose Pay and the Agent Training Module 2, our unique inside advantage and story brand. The main goal of this training is to look at our touch points. What truly makes us unique are the touch points we have with our potential and existing customers. Our channels and customer relation touch points are just really the tip of the iceberg when it comes to our story brand, but in many ways, they become part of our value proposition. One of the most important things that we have are those personal touch points with us and our existing or potential customers. So you can have all the information on the subject that you want, but it's in how you deliver it that's going to bring you to the victory. After all, no one likes a know-it-all, but everyone likes someone who has all the answers, who shares them in a kind way. So it's with that we begin Agent Module 2, and the roadmap leads us into our unique story brand training Module 2, Go Purpose Pay's story brand advantage. So what is a story brand? I'm going to guide you in simplifying your message into sound bites that come from 7 categories. Once you have these 7 messages down, any anxiety or experience talking about Go Purpose Pay will subside, and customers will be more attracted to what you offer. The premise is that a story is atomic. It's perpetual energy. A story can hold a human's attention for hours. Nobody can look away from a good story. In fact, neuroscientists claim the average human being spends more than 30% of their time daydreaming unless we are reading, watching, or listening to a story. Why? Because when we're engaged in a story is the greatest weapon to combat noise. And of course, there's a lot of noise in the marketplace. And so that leads us into our story brand. And as we dive in, we're going to look at the 7 simple concepts of Donald Miller's book, Building a Story Brand. And oh, by the way, the same principles that go into helping us understand our story brand at Go Purpose Pay also, as well as our business model value proposition, are the same principles that we can invest into our customers. We're not only there to help them save money and connect them to awesome nonprofits, but we're there to help them grow. And this is one of those ways that we can do that. So as we dive into story brand, fasten your seatbelts, and here we go. Number 1 is a character who has a problem and meets a guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action that ends in success. That also helps them avoid failure. Those are kind of our stopping points for this adventure. So let's go ahead and dive into number 1, story brand principle 1, a character. The customer is the hero, not our brand. So the customer is the hero. Position the customer in the story is not only smart and good manners, it's good business. And once we've helped them identify, exactly who our customer is, and more importantly, what they want, then we're able to really help them focus in on solutions. And so unless we identify what our customer wants, something they want, anything they want, or several things, they'll never feel like they're invited into the story we're telling. It's critical to pare down to a single focus. What are we known for in helping our hero be a hero, right? And so, again, I'm going to buzz through these fairly quick. This training is not that long, but as we kind of land the plane here on a character, the customer is the hero, not our brand. And so ultimately we ask ourselves at Go Purpose Pay, what do they want? And we feel that after all the years of doing this, what our hero, small to medium business owner wants, they want to remove payment processing pain points. Now, we'll get into those pain points down the road in other trainings, but just realize that when you're talking to a merchant about merchant processing, credit card processing, electronic payments, credit, debit, gift, reward cards, all the apps we have, technology, customer service, rates, fees, all that goes into the conversation of us trying to be winsome, try to earn their account, comes down to this. What do they want? They want to remove the pain points of merchant processing. And so what are those pain points? And, I'll give you the example of buying a car. What are the pain points of buying a car? Well, gosh, you got to shop for it. You got to get approved for credit. You got to find the car you like. You got to find the car you can afford. And now that you're exhausted in doing all that, now you've actually got to really put on the full armor of heading out to the marketplace, because you got to be ready to go talk to salespeople who, in my opinion, are not the greatest ones. Sorry if you're a car salesman listening to this, but I really don't agree with the structure of how you guys do business. There's a lot of pain points in buying a car, in how they treat you through the sales process all the way to the finance manager, and just, would be so much nicer to bypass that. So that's what some very unique car companies have been doing, removing those pain points, and they've been earning business. Well, in some ways, it's very much the same way in our industry. It's a banking product, it's a tech product. There are salespeople involved, and they've created a lot of pain points, and we're going to remove them. Why? Because that's what merchants want. That's our hero. That's the small business owner who's out there trying to run a business in this crazy world we live in. They've got all the pressures of running a small business. Merchant processing should not be another one. They want someone to remove those pain points, not just to the problems and pains they're having, but also to open up those gains and opportunities of the value proposition to help them grow. So that's kind of step number one. This story brand starts with a hero, and that hero has a problem. And customers, they buy solution to internal problems. Okay, so just kind of focus in on that. We've got a hero, a small business owner who has a problem. What are those problems? Well, as we kind of dive in, a story starts with a character who lives in peace and stability. I show up at work, my credit card terminal is working great, right? Then all of a sudden it's not. I have an internet problem. My terminal ran out of paper. My terminal doesn't take a certain card. I need help doing something with my payment processing, and I've got a problem because now it's disrupted my peaceful day, and I've got other things I got to do to run this business, and now I got to solve this problem, right? So the hero sets out on a journey to return to that peaceful life that they enjoyed, whether their credit card terminal broke, or they can't take a card, or they got their credit card statement and their bill was too high, or they wanted to add a gift or reward card program, but it didn't work, or they wanted to do this app, or they needed help logging into their account. All they know is they started out and they were at work. It was a beautiful day and they had peace and stability. And now all of a sudden they have to set out on a journey to solve the pain points of this problem, because they want to return to peace and stability. Listen, this ain't rocket science. We're all like this in every area of our life. We want peace and security. And when something gets out of whack, we just got to get it solved so we can get back to that peaceful and stable state. So realize that these business owners go through this every day, all day, and we can be part of the solution, right? So customers are attracted to us when we can help them solve their problems. And just put yourself in those shoes for a minute. When you've got a problem and someone comes alongside you as a guide, not as the superhero, because remember, the business owner is the hero. We're not the hero, but they come as an advisor, an advocate, a guide, and they help you along the way. It just always works. It's always so well done and tasteful, right? So we deepen their interest in everything that we offer when we come alongside them, right? They're attracted to them or anyone who can help. So you think about, any doctor or any pastor or priest or parent or friend that you've gone to help get the wisdom or knowledge or encouragement to solve a problem, and they become someone important in your life, right? So there are external, there are internal, and there are philosophical problems. And without getting too philosophical here, just know that those three come into play with how we're perceived in the marketplace. So we have a hero who has a problem, right? And this problem boils down to this. Typically, problems ask the question, well, who's the villain? If there's a problem, we say, well, who did that? So customers buy solutions to internal problems. So who's the problem here? Well, why is our industry have so many pain points? Well, you have greedy big banks, processors, and salespeople who don't care or listen. So I know that's kind of loaded, but you have all these large banks, processors, and salespeople who are making a ton of money. And what I haven't been able to figure out for decades is why they don't care or listen Since they're making this great amount of money that they could lose because their customer's not happy and will leave them for another processor, I always ask myself, why don't they care or listen? And that's because it takes more effort to actually have a business model that is structured that way. And quite frankly, in this industry, you can build large books of business day one, and day two, you can sell them. And it can be someone else's problem who buys the paper. It also costs a lot of money, resources, and time to service people well. And so hence, there's a problem. You have greed in an underserved market, and that is the villain. So we have a hero that has a problem, and that kind of leads us to us. Storybrand principle 3, and meets a guide. A hero who has a problem who meets a guide. Now, customers aren't necessarily looking for another hero. They're the hero of their business, but they are looking for a guide who can help them with their business. Being a business owner is a lonely place to be. You work lots of hours for a lot less money than you think, and you have a lot of risk and headaches and pain points, and they're looking for help at every turn. Unfortunately, when we contact them, or for that matter, a lot of products and services that could help them in their business, they've got their defenses up and they're a little bit reluctant because they've been burnt before by people who haven't done a good job. And I'm not saying that I or we are perfect, but we strive to be, and we strive to own our mistakes. And I can tell you that for decades, it's worked, and it works in every industry, right? It literally is the service touch. So we're here on number 3, which is us. We're the guide, right? So if heroes in a story could solve their own problems, they would never get into trouble in the first place. That's why storytellers through the ages have created another character to help the hero win. The premise in the book, in a great book to read, the Storybrand, is that in nearly every story, every good story or movie, you're going to have a hero. And, there's always this guide who kind of helps the hero win, the Miyagi to the Karate Kid, right? So nearly every human being in some ways is looking for a guide to help them. And I've seen that with some of the best known athletes or people who have accomplished great things. They've always had life coaches or counselors speaking into what they're doing, right? Whether it's wisdom or knowledge, or to help them renew their mind and how they look at something. So trust me, business owners are looking for a guide to help them see things clearer in this ever-changing payment industry, right? So again, every human wakes up each morning and sees the world through the lens of the world that's revolving around them, right? So again, them being the hero, us being the guide, we wake up with the vision of how we help them. So again, kind of follow me through here with the Storybrand. That leads us to the main focus point on stop number 3, and that is, what kind of guide are they looking for? Customers aren't looking for another hero, they're looking for a guide. They're looking for one that's empathetic and someone who is authoritative, right? So I want you to be a know-it-all. I just don't want you to have the attitude that goes along with it. I want you to be empathetic towards what I'm experiencing, my pain points, my hopes, my dreams for being the hero of my business. I want you to be empathetic to what I've got going on. I'm in the trenches of my business, but I want you to be an authoritative guide on how you can help me, because I want you to be able to solve these things and to have the wisdom and knowledge. So I want to look to you as the wise counselor of payment processing and all that goes along with it. And that becomes the nature of who we are. And the reason that we put this in our training modules so early on is because, leading back to our business model and our value proposition, we often say that us as the salespeople are the channel, the customer relation, which is a large part of our value proposition. The guide. We are someone in this business owner's life they can count on to not only help solve problems and pain points, but to open up doors of opportunity that can help these businesses reduce their risk, but also increase growth opportunities. So meets a guide. That's you and me. We're the guides, right? So it moves us into this, right? All right, you can be a guide, but if you don't have a plan on how to get to the solution, then what good are you, right? So that leads us to Storybrand principle number 4, who gives them a plan. Customers trust a guide who has a plan, right? What customers are looking for are clear paths, AKA a plan. In every story, the guide gives the hero a plan to get the job done. And, you can dive deeper into the weeds on this, but, really there's the agreement plan and there's the process plan. And each of these help earn trust. The agreement plan really is, hey, listen, let's do business. We agree under this contract to do this. The other is the process plan, which kind of more is getting permission to live another day. So maybe you present to a business owner, they're not looking to come to a full agreement today and sign the contract, but they are willing to agree to the process, meaning, hey, Joe, I know you got to think about this and I kind of want to run the numbers and I want to come back next week to show you or answer your question, right? I want to show you this terminal or answer your question about something we talked about. And Joe says, okay, yeah, we'll see you next week. Well, he's agreed to the process, right? So we're always trying to get an affirmative to continue the conversation or to bring it to a close and sign the contract, right? So they're looking for that plan and we breadcrumb that process for them during our presentation, which that gets into different modules of our sales process, but realize that now we give them a plan, right? And that's the structure. And when you're talking to a potential customer, that you can share with them, hey, listen, here's kind of how we look at this. You're the hero, we're the guide. The value that we bring to your business will look like this. And here's the process to engage with us. What do you think? Would you like 5 or 10 minutes time with our sales rep? That's kind of a thumbnail on how that would play out, right? So focusing on number 4, the Storybrand principle, who gives them a plan? Customers are looking for a trusted guide who has a plan. So the old adage here is if you confuse, you lose. So a plan creates clarity. People want to know after you've helped them and you've been empathetic and authoritative on the problem and you've given them a plan, they want to make sure the plan makes sense, right? They want to go down that breadcrumb path because they've got a lot of other things going on. Okay, I kind of like this. What's the next step? What does that look like, right? So people like to have plans because that creates peace and stability, which leads us to stop number 5, principle 5, and calls them to action. Unless customers take action, nothing happens, right? So customers do not take action unless they're challenged to take action. And I use the word challenged lightly, but listen, almost all humans are procrastinators. I'm going to tuck it under the pillow. I got to talk to my wife. I got to talk to my husband. Let me think about it. Let me mull it over. Well, part of that is we haven't finished digesting the information to make a final decision. Some of that is people aren't good at making decisions and they procrastinate. And sometimes they just don't trust. They want to think it through. There's some wisdom in that. So ideally, how do we lead them into the right direction to take action, to challenge them to take action? Because listen, we can help them. And there's no reason why for another day they should lose another dollar or take more risk or have poor service. Let's get the ball rolling now. And so how do we call them to action? And of course, how do we call them into action in a reasonable and kind way, right? So there needs to be a reason to call them to action. Companies, you've got to create obvious calls to action for customers. They want to see it clearly, right? And we often in the business call it a call to action. No good marketing exists if there's no call to action, because once we've attracted someone to our offer, there should be an action step they need to take, right? It involves communicating clear and direct steps for our customer to see that, hey, that problem we talked about, that challenge you're having, we can help you return to your peaceful life. Here's the action you need to take, right? So you have these one call actions, those are direct, and then you have the transitional one that kind of gets back to the direct, hey, can we do this today? Or hey, can I get permission to come back tomorrow to chat to you again, right? So focusing in on landing the plane on here on the 5th principle, they get excited about what we're offering, but they need us to call them to action, right? And so, when you think about that, you at this point in our customer story, they're excited, but they need us to call them to action, right? And there are all kinds of different types of directional or transitional, type action steps that we can call them to, but we got to get it done and get it done now. The transitional one is a little bit more about getting permission, right? So, hey, I'd like to begin the process of getting you started, if that's okay. I'm confident you'll be satisfied, with the outcome. I really think we'll be able to substantially help you, to remove those pain points. Do you mind if I get the ball rolling here? And it becomes this transitional process that becomes, a nice breadcrumb path to follow without being too direct. Again, getting a little bit in the sales weeds of the sales presentation, but realize we got to call them to action if anything's going to happen, right? So what does that action even help them do? Well, it helps them avoid failure. I mean, the peace and stability thing is where we started this story, right? Every human being's trying to avoid, a tragic ending in every area of their life, right? We want things to work the way they're supposed to work and continually get better every day. And the more we can help our customers help that happen, the better guide will be in helping them be a hero to their colleagues, their employees, and their customers. So stories live and die on a single question: what's at stake, right? If nothing can be gained or lost, then nobody cares. I mean, that's the old adage: if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? So simply put, we must show people that, hey, there's a cost to not doing business with Go Purpose Pay. Again, this gets into our value proposition. What are their pain points and how do we solve them? What are the gains they get, right? And so with gains, you get gains. But if you don't take the solution we're offering, you don't get those gains, which means you're losing some value, right? So it's not just that nothing can be gained, but it's that you're losing something. And in losing something, being more at risk or having fraud or lost opportunity or time, or not having opportunity to certain features to help you grow your business, those are things that are lost, right? So you can save $10 a month. That's great. But man, because you didn't make this change, you actually lost $20 a month. And again, that becomes part of us being able to call them to action so that they can avoid failure, right? Hey, your current solution doesn't do this, this, and this, and that's leaving you vulnerable, as well as you're not able to take advantage of these other features and benefits. Right. So there's an urgency to it. Hey, let's help you avoid a tragic ending. Right. So that's kind of principle number 6, which kind of lands us at, it helps people avoid failure. What are we helping our customers avoid? Well, it's those pain points, the problems, and the frustrations. And there are a lot of them. And we kind of began to paint that picture. If you kind of forget it, go visit the value proposition in module 1 again. We touch a lot on the jobs that they have to accomplish and the pain points that they're going through, right? So not only do we encourage them to take action to avoid failure, but we also want to help them take action that ends in success, right? Never assume people understand how your brand can change their lives. Tell them, right? We want this to end in success. We're going to avoid failure, and we're going to succeed, right? And so this kind of becomes our story brand. We must, tell our customers how great their life can look with our company and products and services. Everybody wants to be taken somewhere, right? So we paint that picture of what it looks like once they use our brand, right? Perhaps the most important element of our messaging strategy is offering a vision for how great a customer's life could be if they engage with our products. We can help you at Go Purpose Pay, where payments meet purpose, save you money, grow your business, and give back to these awesome nonprofits that we've partnered with, which also give you a great marketing advantage in your industry. Now, getting into our value proposition of the jobs and tasks you have to do compared to the terminal you have, look what our terminal is going to do, and it's loaded with these features and apps that will make your life better. It'll also help you avoid failure in these areas. And when it comes to a pain point of cost, you're currently paying X, and it's only going to be X with us, X minus X amount of dollars, right? So what percentage of savings are we going to save them? So we help them save, we help them grow their business, and we help them connect by giving back. And with our solution, they also get really cool technology. And oh, by the way, stellar, amazing, off the charts, ridiculously awesome, personal, in-house customer service, which becomes probably one of the more frustrating pain points of almost any industry. And we help remove that, right? So 7, that ends in success. And so they're excited, but they need us to call them to action that ends in success, right? And again, what that success looks like is kind of driven by what we learn from what they've shared with us through our value proposition as to their pain points versus the solutions that we bring. So closing the story loop. Human beings are looking for resolutions to their external, internal, and philosophical problems. And they can achieve this through, among other things, status, self-realization, self-acceptance, transcendence. I mean, closing a story loop is much more than you think. You see, you have this loop, right? We tell this story, becomes a story loop of you have a hero and of a problem, and they meet a guide, and you have this whole you land the plane, and the story is beautiful. We help you avoid failure, and you reach success. And those images, on our website and on our social media, our voice inflection, they help deliver these story brands, right? And so as we kind of land our story loop and kind of again look at kind of a snapshot, we need to show repeatedly how our company and value proposition can make someone's life better, right? And this becomes the mindset and the story that we're helping them become wiser, more equipped, more physically fit, more accepted, more at peace. We're participating in our customers' transformation. So as we kind of encapsulate this story and we land the story loop, what are we really doing? Well, we're helping them remove and solve pain points and problems, which helps them be a wiser business owner, helps them look better in front of their customers and employees. They're more equipped to get the job done. They're more physically fit because they're not exhausted, right? Pain points create exhaustion because they disrupt that peace and stability, right? So they're more accepted for the things that they're doing, and they're more at peace. So again, bringing back to peace and stability. So we're participating in our customers' transformation. People want transformation. When you can revolutionize part of their business, it can transcend a lot, right? So it's that small momentum in one sector of your business that can affect so many others. And ultimately, isn't that what we all want? We all want to transform into something that is better. And if we can be a guide to help the hero transform into a bigger hero, that's awesome, because companies that participate in the identity transformation of their customers create passionate evangelists, which is, quite frankly, where we get customers to stay with us forever. And they also become amazing referral sources. At any rate, we're going to kind of land the plane. I told you it would be a short one. You're going to probably want to watch that a couple times. And even as I land the plane on this training, this story brand, as I'm reading and kind of sharing this with you in this module, so lines up with our first module of the business model and our value proposition, and it becomes our story brand. And if you have the story model kind of brand laid out in your mind, that customer is the hero and you're the guy who helps them solve that problem to avoid failure and calamity that leads in success, you call them to action, you give them a plan. That becomes how you formulate the conversations you have with referrals. And you start to apply the meat and potatoes around that structure. So, hey, thanks for sticking in on module 1 and 2. As we get prepared to head into module 3, our pipe drive, which is going to be attract, sell, and wow, we start to put some meat on these bones we've laid out. So yeah,